house. Ulisa SK, Arnold, Beverly, Felicia, Quiet Money, I know, Norris, Maria, Lynn, James, William. Welcome, guys. All right. Sorry about the that mix-up. Sometimes that ends up that had nothing to do with anything that I've done this morning. So sometimes it actually just does that, and maybe it's partially that add-in that I have. Let's continue with the markets right now, okay? Well, we're going to take a look over here at the Qs. The Qs did not take out that lower low. It basically put in an inside weak right here. So if it takes out the high, bulls are on parade. If it takes out the low, watch out, the bears are actually taking control. Right now, we're just kind of in the middle right now. So as far as swing trades go, I would be kind of careful with this. You want to watch this near-term low right around this 700 view right here. I give you that number. That number is, we're going to call it 702. You go underneath 702 and you're in trouble. You can see over here on the IWM, I'm not going to zoom in because we're just doing a quick overview on this, guys, and I'll zoom into some stuff later. But you can see on the IWM, we're actually kind of breaking down out of this triangle pattern slightly, but it still has not lost the middle of this upward trading range, upward channel. So until it does that, we're probably looking pretty good to go upside. You know, the market, when it gets this bullish coming into the regular trading hours, I'm very skeptical about how the regular trading hours are going to punish the pre-market traders and pull this thing back. So I would be very careful. This is a bearish rising wedge on the IWM. Would not be surprised to see this pull back to like 293.15. Over on Bitcoin, guys, I love this look right here. If we can actually begin to hold up above it, let's get above this 20-period moving average, get over above 63,000, start to show me you can put in a base. Maybe this might even be a little bit of a head and shoulders. Wouldn't that be great? Look at this. What if we got this going on? We got that going on, like a little head and shoulders thing going up to the upside. So yeah, Bitcoin, we're watching you. If you take out the near-term low, then this bear flag is 100% playing out. But right now, Bitcoin is actually looking okay. And I'd keep an eye on Coin and other Bitcoin plays like Mara and even Hood as being possible stocks that could rip up today if the market decides to get extremely bullish. You can see that gold actually, if it breaks this downward trend right there, it actually has room to run on this daily channel up to here. So gold actually, you know, gold might be something that's going to start to see some movement. I'm very skeptical right now with this week coming up, you guys. With this week coming up, I'm very skeptical about gold. I'm skeptical about Bitcoin, about a lot of these plays. And the reason why is that I think there's going to be a lot of caution thrown into the wind. So but I am kind of liking, you know, the TLT continues to actually be bullish coming out of this, out of two downward trending channels, but it needs to get up above 88, maybe retest 88.67, and then show you can hold that, that right there so that it actually doesn't give it back. And, you know, here's the warning sign right here. You have basically a bullish falling wedge over here on the USO. And so, honestly, I'm thinking about buying some out-of-the-money calls on USO, just because if something blows up over the next couple of days, USO could actually rip up. I don't imagine it's actually going to go much lower. Think about your catalyst. Here's the catalyst. Okay, so yeah, they've reached an agreement. Well, we already have that catalyst. How much downward momentum are we going to get out of it? So, you know, if it gives me a nice entry, I might actually take a swing on USO. That one's in for consideration. All right, let's take a look at the SPY and dig into the details. I want to start over here on your weekly, and the reason why I start on the weekly is because we just ended the week, and we want to see who's actually winning the war here. So we zoom in over here for your weekly, and what I want you to notice is you had this high right there. We took out instead of taking the high out, we actually produced a lower high. So that's one for the bears, right? And then on this low right here, instead of holding that low, we took out the lower low. So on a weekly basis, on a bar by bar count, it's actually the bears are actually winning. Now, as far as trend goes, on the trend though, this is nothing more than just a minor pullback on an upward trend. So the bears still got work to do, okay? But they did their job last week. The bulls also did their job because they put in that lower wick. So that's what I'm trying to tell you is, like, right now, we're actually going to need something to actually be the thing that breaks the catalyst. We're going to need something that's those numbers. I think those numbers, when those numbers start to come out, they're going to provide for us either a positive catalyst or a negative catalyst, and we could actually continue to rip up, maybe actually go up to 800 before we see a really serious pullback. We lose this channel, and it's a very good chance we're actually all the way back down into this whole 580 range, which I'll show you that if you want. But that's what I'm looking at. Let's go ahead and zoom that back out. I'm actually gonna take this, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to maximize the sell just to show you the 580 that I had on the mark. So there it is right there. You see there? It's the bottom of this channel. So we get underneath of this, yeah, we could probably bounce around, but it would not surprise me to come all the way back down and retest the bottom of that channel before we decide to have another rip back up. So that will be very painful, okay? It doesn't look painful, but when you're going through it and the whole world seems like it's coming to an end, that's painful. And in the meantime, this is where I try to keep you centered. Just remember that we're in an uptrend, okay? So that's what we're remembering. And we're remembering that the bulls are hard to kill. All right, on the daily time frame basis, we got to dig into these things a little bit deeper on Mondays, okay? On the daily time frame basis, I do not trust this candle right here. It's a doji candle. I think it's a little bit higher of a doji, but either way, it is a doji. We have not gotten above this 737.8, which was, I think, the PCE measurement that we took on the 2-minute candle, so it needs to take out that. It's down below the 20-period moving average. You have a slightly upward trending 50-period moving average, which is almost kind of lifting it. But what's happening is when price comes up into that 20 and then this upward trending channel right here, that's nothing more than a back test on that channel. It actually has a lot of work to do on the daily time frame chart. Right now, on the daily time frame chart, if I'm going back to the beginning of June, this is actually bearish from the beginning of June right here. The beginning of June is that date right there. And I'm looking on there and I can see that it's a little bit hard to see. I want to stay zoomed out for just a second. But if we're taking this all the way back to April, then once again, this is nothing more, even if we get all the way back down into 700, it's nothing more than a pullback into a higher, it's just typical market behavior. It's exactly what we would expect out of a bull market. But right now, if you're trading this market, it's really, it's bullish right now in the pre-market stance. It's bearish on the daily time frame chart in the near term. It's bullish in the mid and longer term, obviously, okay? So that's what we're going with on that. Staying zoomed out. This is actually the confirmation of what I just got done talking about. There you are, you're in a downward trending channel on your 4-hour time frame chart, but you gotta love what the bulls are doing here. They're walking it up into this channel, but this is actually something that I like to trade. I would actually even consider looking for a short, especially because I love to trade the edges. So here you go, you have your edge right here. There's your edge. You're in a longer term. When I say longer term, I'm talking about since June the 1st, right? Downward trending channel, and you end up losing this, then you can actually trend down lower and kind of hold that. You could actually take that as a day trade, hold yourself a runner for a swing trade. And this might be a great time to think about maybe doing some kind of put positions if it ends up losing that trend. So make those marks on your, if you trade the SPY and you actually like to do swing trading, you might want to take a look at that. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's zoom into this. Good. You can see my numbers a little bit there. So that's that number right there. That's 737.78. 737.78. That is the number that it's actually getting rejected at right now. That number was put in on Thursday on the pre-market on the PCE ratings. And you see now why I continue to hold these. Now, this eventually will actually become not necessarily a number anymore, and then I'll just trust my pivots. And you can see I don't mark up my charts with a whole bunch of different lines. I just allow my pivots to actually be automatically drawn in there. on the custom indicators that I've created. You also got yourself a snapback low here over on 729. If you guys remember, 729 was a big deal on Friday. I want you also to remember this, 739 prior to 729 being a big deal. We actually called out 739 on one of my pre-market reports, and you could see that on that losing of the 739, look at the dump on this candle right here. And then also, it might have even been right here where actually we called it out, and you had this dump. So twice, when it actually lost 739, that was a major dump. You also got your 20 period or 200 period moving average coming in here on a slight downward slope. It's really difficult to actually get the 200 period to have a slope. So it's actually got a negative slope. And so the granddaddy over here meeting up over at that 739 pivot, that's a big time warning factor. The market moves up into this. I would actually be really careful about trying to go long on this. I would probably be looking more for something like that rather than the long side. So there is a number, there is an area of inflection right there, 739. Can't say that number enough. I'm going to say this too, 729, 730 area. You know what? The bulls need to hold this area right here. They need to hold this area right here or else they're in trouble, okay? They need to hold that area. They actually managed to do it, and it was a battle. They almost lost the front there last week, but they managed to hold it. So remembering to zoom back out, we're going over to our 15-minute time frame chart. Going to give you guys the pre-market highs and the pre-market lows, and just kind of take a quick gander at this. So your pre-market high is 738.1, and your pre-market low is 734.52. So the 734 is actually a pretty tight range is where we're in right now. So that's pretty cool. If you guys look at this too, though, we're on the upper side of the balance range, and the market's gotten pretty bullish because not just on the upper side of the balance range, say since about the 4 o'clock time frame, but if you take it from the gap up from yesterday, we're way up on the upper side of the balance range, trading right around here. So that puts us in the upper 30% of the balance range. When you're in that upper 30% of the balance range, you can pretty much draw a line like that, and you can kind of almost expect that that they're actually going to try to rip you up above and then actually take some money away from the retail traders, and then we'll make a decision. Do we actually get a bounce off of here, or do we actually dig in deeper and then get a bounce from there? And so we'll definitely receive the bounce. Will the bounce be a dead cat bounce, or will the bounce be for real? I kind of have a feeling we're probably looking at for a little. I would not trust breakouts today, you guys, not with what's going on with the economic calendar. So that's my assessment on that. I'm thinking that the breakouts are actually suspect. So that's what's going on with the SPY. Let's take a look at some of the other markets as well. Take a quick look over here at the Qs. Yeah, we got a big wick over here on the 15-minute. I'm sure that's not actually accurate. So we're looking at the same thing. We're up at the upper end of a balance range right here on the Qs when you're looking at that, right? And that's not good. So the market's coming in in the upper range of the balance, which insinuates that there's a lot of people that made money. You understand? So when you wake up and let's say you bought 10 contracts and now you're up $1,000, are you going to take some of that off? You're probably, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people might be like, you know what, $1,000, I'm going to take that to the bank. Well, that means they're sellers, right? So you have new money longs here, right? You have people who were long over here. Now they're winners, so some of them are going to be thinking about selling. They're shorter term traders, the ones that are shorter term traders. You got new money longs. These guys are the weak hands right here. So that's why when the market decides to actually rip up the new money longs, the new money longs are actually excited. Maybe they even buy in more. You get the FOMO, and then when they start taking out the stop losses, that's why you end up seeing this kind of action. Okay, just so you understand the psychology that actually works behind this kind of movements. That's what I'm trying to actually bring to you in that respect. So it looks like the Qs are in the same kind of a situation. We're basically, when you're looking at it, we're kind of like in this inside kind of work right here. This is really the biggest range right here inside the day trading range, and we're kind of running inside of that. So everything is compressing, and it's compressing for a larger move. A larger move. It's compressing for a larger move. All right. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the sectors. I actually did not do this pre-market, so this is actually 100% completely new to me in regards to analysis on this. But I do like to look at this, and then part of what I wanted to do when I was doing these kind of things with you was I wanted to actually just use it as time that what I normally do. But it's breaking down right here. Look at this. XLK has actually lost the 20-period moving average. Okay, that's a warning sign. That's a warning sign. So there you go. The SMH is actually right on the 20-period moving average. Now, it's bouncing up now from today's movements, right? But on the close, on the daily time frame basis, it's actually sitting right on that 20-period. It tested it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So as you start testing something more and more, it weakens, right? So here we had, really it tested it once, twice, and that was your 3rd time right there. All right, so this is a major warning sign right here. The XLK, the semis are somewhat of a warning sign, okay? And the rest of these guys are all under the 20. We're just going to go, well, who's over and who's under the 20-period moving average? Under the 20-period moving average, under the 20-period moving average. Silver and gold under the 20-period moving average. Can't get up above it. USO is way down below the 20-period moving average, but it's coming into the 200-period moving average. I think you're going to see a bounce pretty soon on USO. I keep saying it. And actually, we have been getting some bounces, so even if you decided to go long. The TLT actually looks good. It's actually carried the 20-period moving average. It looks like you're getting ready to get a crossover on the 20 and the 50. And it's actually well above the 20-period, which is insinuating that the price action now is actually going to start to pull up the moving average versus the opposite. Now, it's not going to run forever because it has that 200-period downward sloping up above you. Granddaddy's up above you. So it has a limited run, but it looks like TLT actually is bullish. So we're going to give it a little bit of an up arrow over there. We also got XLB, your materials. Those are actually looking a little bit bullish. So let's give that an upward arrow. We got the XLR wreath. That's a little bit bullish. So this is actually insinuating that maybe interest rates are not going to be a problem. And maybe all those reports that I'm telling you that I'm a little bit worried about this week, maybe they're going to amount to nothing. Your XLE is continuing to go down. It can't get over the 20-period moving average, so it is a downer. But your XLP has actually carried the 20 and the 50. It's not as strong as the TLT, and it's coming into the 200 period, so it's really just kind of flat to up, right? So that's actually flat to up. But look at industrials, guys. I'm going to have to put a circle around that. Look at industrials right here. Industrials, look at this movement. Man, industrials are strong. Industrials are really strong. You're getting your 20-period, 50-period moving average. We're over top of the 200-period moving average. Can it pull back a little bit? Yes, pullbacks are viable right now on industrials. So take that one to the bank. XLF is looking really good. It has finally actually gotten above the moving averages. It's over that trend line. Let me show you the trend line. I can see it right here. It's over the trend line. Look at this, you guys. It's carried the trend line. You can start to look for stocks in the XLF. Okay, so XLF, it's a circle. It's looking really good. Congratulations, XLF. We're going to give you an upward arrow. XLV, I've been calling out XLV. This sector has been incredibly strong. Look at that weekly move. You probably can't see that right now. So that actually deserves a zoom in. I'm going to zoom in on that. 7.32 last week. What a move that was. And look at this price action over here. Well above everything, even ripping over the granddaddy, saying like, granddaddy, you got to change your tune. You're not going to be resisting this. Get on board. You're going to end up being support. This was support. It's over it enough now that it actually probably could come back into it and use it as support. We're at an upward trending 20-period moving average. You got the 2050 crossover. We could see a little bit of a pullback underneath of that 200-period moving average. It still wouldn't hurt you. But this is bullish. And this also is bullish. XLU, which is also insinuating, once again, the interest rate situation that I was referring to before might not be an issue. Guys, this is important to actually look at these sectors. Pay attention to what's going on in these sectors. You should be looking for stocks in these kind of sectors. That way you can actually find trades that actually can continue to move. Money is moving into these sectors right here. Money's starting to move out of your XLK, your SMH, and probably your DRAM. All right. That's it for that. Let's go back over to the flexible grid. Guys, I'm actually going to put DRAM on here because that has been the market leader, right? And so let's take a look at DRAM. DRAM, you had a pretty bad week last week. Oh, that's all I got. I got you. Okay. This is actually a new ETF, so that's all the data that you have right here. But you notice they put in a higher high and also put in a higher low. What a move that was. It actually had made it all the way to the top of the channel and to the bottom of the channel in the entire week practically, okay? So what a move that was. Over here on the daily time frame chart, you had a huge gap down. You ended up like getting picked up. You got a nice wick off the bottom of this channel. So the bottom of that channel is real, okay? You also got another nice hammer candle after that, and you completely filled the gap over here that you created, and it looked like you were actually going to rip back up to the top of the channel, but then the next day it kind of said no way. So that's what we're looking at on that. Let me go ahead and change that. I want to actually extend this right here to the right. This actually deserves to be extended. And so right now over here on the 4-hour time frame chart, let's go ahead and zoom in on this. So DRAM, you're going to need to hold this low right here. DRAM holds that low. It's basically putting in a higher low. So I would like that. But right now, if it doesn't hold that low, then guess what? It put in a lower high. So it's a battle between the lower highs and the higher lows right now for DRAM. See right here? Here's your low it's got to hold. Here's your high it's got to take out, right? Right now, the trade on this thing, as I'm trading it, actually would be looking for the long. Because what do I have going on here? I have actually a possible breakout on a counter trend rally. Your primary trend is right here. This is your primary trend right there, right? That's your primary channel right here. I'm going to put it in the arrows right there. There's your primary channel. Then your secondary channel, your counter trend channel, right? Your counter trend right here is this. You break that counter trend and you hold that low, you can go long on this with a great risk to reward. You should be able to get at least up to 80 looking at this on the 4-hour time frame chart. So DRAM actually could go on the list as a trade today. Looking at it over here on the, let's go ahead and let's look at it on the hourly time frame chart. We're looking at 8:50 on the clock right now. Let me know what stocks you guys want to look at. I did not create a pre-market version right now. I am kind of loving this right now. I'm loving this. You got a triangle consolidation. That's a huge compression area right through here. Price is just continuing to compress in this area right here. Compress. And what's going to happen is it's going to explode out. Okay? On the top side, you got to be careful that you don't end up getting one of these numbers where you run into this and then it fakes you out and then it takes you lower. Okay, so you got to watch out for that. It has to hold, at the very minimum, it's got to hold this low right here. I'm going to give you that number. That's a big number. I'm going to tell you why it's a big number, because you got a control bar right there. 69.50, okay? 69.50, your DRAM has got to hold 69.50. That bar right there, that's a big bullish bar. There was a big buyer right there. That buyer was willing to defend that area more than likely. It gets down below 69. Let's just give it a little room to actually float down and do one of these wick unders like sometimes it likes to do. It gets down below 69, you better be careful. It's probably going to come down and retest the most recent low and see if it wants to put in a double bottom before going to the top, which is 67 over here, right? Let's look at your pre-market high and your pre-market low on DRAM. This stock is actually pretty volatile. I've traded it a couple of times. It's actually for me, it's traded pretty nicely. So once again, you have this kind of channel going on right here. So in the 15-minute time frame chart, it's actually that is not a bull flag, you guys. It's actually it's come back beyond the 61.8, I believe, from that bullish candle. Let me give you that. Let me just take a look at that just real quick. This is how I do day trading sometimes. All right, so I'm looking at this. I'm looking at 69.5. I'm pulling a fib on this just to see how it is in this very short-term time frame basis. And it is right now. It's wicking under. Okay, so there you go. I'm actually zoomed in. I apologize if the zoom in was messing you guys up before. Still trying to get used to this. But look at this. That's your 61.8 right there. See that? And it wicked under, but it held. It's got to hold that number. That's 70. Let me give you that specific number. That number is 70.66. It's got to hold that, or if it takes out that wick low, then it's probably coming all the way back to 69.5. When you lose the 60, this fib right here, the 61.8. You lose that 61.8, a lot of times you end up coming all the way back to the beginning, right? So that's how that works out. Going back out of the zoom out, I'm going to look at your stocks. All right. Aisha, that's a great call. Maria, Palantir, Netflix. You know, Palantir's kicking butt. I got it over here on the list. By the way, guys, let me give you a quick view over here of my list. This is my primary list over here. It might be a little hard to read, but you can see RCAT is actually kicking butt. RCAT, Bloom Energy, MicroStrategy, Palantir, Oracle, Now, ServiceNow, USAR, they're all above 2% in the pre-market, looking pretty good. And then on the bottom side of that list, what do you have? Let me turn my camera off. So on the bottom side of the list, what do you have? You got your metals. You got, I'm not sure if you're seeing that. You got, yeah, there we go. Okay. So on the bottom side of the list, here you go, right here. So you're looking at GDXJ, silver, gold. United Health is giving back a little bit. I mean, it's only down 0.15%. And these guys are down less than 1%. So, but they are still skeptical about this move. So gold and silver are still skeptical. All right, looking at your requests, we will go to Palantir next. Let's go to Palantir. All right, so Palantir is out of this regression channel. That's a plus for Palantir. Looking at it on the 4-hour time frame chart. Hold on a second, got to take you out of the zoom. There we go. So on the 4-hour time frame chart right here, Palantir has actually regained that channel. It's actually starting an upward channel here on basically an hourly time frame. So let's take a look at this and let's look at it on the hourly time frame and see if we can get some numbers. Maximize this. So Palantir, I'm still not really a believer that this stock is actually a swing long. But I mean, if you take a day trade on this and you actually are up, and you're not losing money, you could keep a runner on this. Look at this though, on the hourly time frame chart, this is what you want to see. It held the snapback low, had some pivots right here, it held that, came out of this descending channel, very nice, never even really came back and retested the back test of this. I'm kind of waiting to see if this gives me a little bit of a back test for an entry. Right now, it's kind of like out of balance here to the high side. It's coming into the 200 period moving average. For me right now, getting in Palantir feels a little bit like chasing. I'm not really 100% against chasing. Don't get me wrong, but you got to follow like the 5 period moving average or 10 period moving average. And as soon as this thing actually starts to reverse, you got to get out. But I think that it's going to give you an opportunity to get in long if you just wait until it actually comes back and retests this 20 period moving average on the hourly time frame chart. Trust me, it will come back and retest this. It's right now, it's actually extended from the 20 period. So waiting for the 20 period to catch up to this. If you're wanting to go long on this, that's what I would actually look to wait for. Be careful about your overhead resistance. You got 121 on a pivot right there, and that's also matching granddaddy, the 200 period moving average. And then you got an upper trading range right over here, right around between 123 and 126, 127. That's a really huge balanced trading range. So it's not going to get too much higher than 122, I think, before this thing stalls out. Let's give you like the day trade moves right now on the pre-market. Looking at the time right now, it's 8:57. Looks like we're doing okay. Once again, it looks like to me there's a lot of fake wicks. I don't trust this wick right here. I'm going to actually take it out. I do not trust that wick. I think I've showed you guys how to do this before. So let me show you. You just actually say correct this bar. That's a right click. You go over here, and if I actually remove the bar, you can see that bar was put in at 8 o'clock, so I'm not even going to put that in. And then that changes my my snapbacks, my pre-market lows, all of that, because it was going off of that wick. And that's why it's important to actually have proper price action, proper candles in there. Your financials, for whatever reasons, like JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley and stuff like that, they've been putting in so many fake wicks, I actually even stopped watching those charts. Pre-market low. Your pre-market low on this is actually 113.81. Your pre-market high is 117.80. How do you like that, Norris? I'm calling out the numbers for you. Guys, if you like what I'm doing so far, do me a favor and put a like in the chat. And by the way, if you're not part of my pre-market report, I'm going to have a link for you in the chat. It's actually a new link to subscribe to it because I'm actually carrying that through Substack. So there's what you're looking at on that. You guys know the game plan. You got to get up above this pre-market high to go long on this. It's out of balance towards the high side. I'm really, if you want to tell me, if I had to put on my Swami hat and I said, and they asked me, Don, what is this going to do on the open? Well, it's going to rip on the open above that pre-market high. It's going to get the people in on the FOMO. And then some people are going to start to take profits. And then the people who are actually like to play the games, they're going to actually take it and they're going to rip you down under. And it's going to come back into these moving average and into these pivots. And from there, it can make a decision whether it wants to actually completely bounce from there or it actually just wants to play one of these numbers and then make a decision about whether it goes higher or whether it goes lower, okay? But it looks to me like that's the action. That seems to be the playbook for pretty much all the stocks. We've already talked about this on the SPY and on the Qs. All right, what else we got? We got Netflix. You know what? I'm noticing that stocks like Netflix and stocks like, okay, we're at the 9 o'clock hour. I'm just going to go into the hourly and I'm going to the 15-minute and then we're moving on, okay? So, and in fact, actually, I think we can actually just zoom this out. That pretty much gives us our hourly. There's Netflix for you on the hourly, right? That's a downward trending channel. All right, what do we got going on? We got a bull flag, a beautiful bull flag into a downward trending channel. But we also have a stock that's been so beaten up that it looks to me that I'm not sure that the market even has that much lower that it wants to push this stock. Same goes for Microsoft. That's the vision I'm starting to have with these stocks right now, the ones that are beaten up like this. So do I think that Netflix could possibly be a swing long, a day trading long? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so what do you got? You got a very tight consolidation range between 74 and 75. It gets over 75, you got 75.25 to contend with. So you probably want to go ahead. You could actually incrementally get in if you wanted to get in early. But if it gets up above here and holds that, that's over top of your snapback. It's a bull flag. I think this thing can run. But be careful about this because you do have a seller there at around the 75 mark. You have your snapback, you got pivots, you got pivot highs, right? On the pivot low, though, you also got a lot of, what do we love to call this? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful open volume. So you know what? Netflix is actually going on my list to day trade today. Netflix is a great call out for a trade. So Netflix below 74, you can look to take the short. Above 75, you can look to take a long. That's the basic review of Netflix. And also, does Netflix have a lot more downside? My guess is no. All right, going over to Microsoft. Man, you know what? I had the call on Microsoft that one day. I said, this thing could go all the way down to 350. I said, but I don't think it'll happen in that day. Well, it ended up happening in one day. It ended up, look at it. It must have been on my pre-market show. Look at that. There's a pivot 350.5. Well, you're not seeing it. Okay. There we go. Pull this out. All right. So 350.5, right? But if you're looking at this, right, the 350.5, it actually was even lower than that. It actually had just slightly undercut 350. So the call on 350 on that, and it just was like, it just made sense to me. It was a big round number, but hey, sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong. Try to be more right than wrong on a daily time frame basis. Look what Microsoft's doing lately, guys. Look at that. That's a bull flag. Let's rip out of the bull flag, guys. Let's create this is what I call a inverted bull flag, and these are notorious for going this direction. But you know what? It didn't. You know why? Because the stock is actually gaining a lot of strength. And now look at it. Let me actually do this. Now we look at it. We have our third bull flag that we're actually putting in right here on the gap up, right? So we're going to still call that a bull flag. And that's a fake out candle right there. So I'm going to take that candle out because it's falsely marking the pre-market low. But right now, over the last 3 sessions now, we're looking at a very bullish Microsoft. Is IGV now finally going to be giving us the bounce that we've been looking for all of this time? Let's fix this bar. We don't need it. We're just going to remove it. Sometimes I actually put in something. So there's your bar. Let's go ahead and give you your pre-market high and pre-market lows. So your pre-market high is 382.49. Your pre-market low 376.97, right? So basically 377. And you can see you got plenty of room to run on the bottom side of this if you lose 377. If you get over top of that pre-market high, you really got to take out this near-term high right here, and then this thing is off to the races. Okay, 38.23 on Microsoft. 2 good call outs. I'm gonna have to give somebody the call. Maria, great call out. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, that was Aisha on the call out on that. Maria, you also had some great call outs. Build the arc. IONK. Staying on the 15 time frame chart, coming my zoom out, kind of remembering what I need to do here. This thing is bearish in the hourly. It looks like an ABC pattern right there on that hourly time frame. So we zoom this thing back in to see what we're looking like right now. It's actually trading in the middle of a range. You see this between the 52.5 and the 48.5. And I know you can't see those numbers, so I can zoom you in a little bit on that. So there's your numbers right there. There's really nothing to do with this. You got a consolidation range that you're trading within, and then that consolidation range is actually, look at here. You have this consolidation range, you got this consolidation range, and now in the pre-market you have this consolidation range. So basically, this entire thing is really a range from like here to here. I know I've drawn in a lot of boxes, so let me redo this for you. All right. So basically, you are in a consolidation range from here to here. I don't trade inside of consolidation ranges. And actually, for the price of the stock, this range is actually a little wide for me. I would prefer that this stock continue to actually consolidate into this kind of range. But I would rather have it do that on either on the downward side or on the upward side of the range so I can get a breakout on this. But what's it doing? It's doing it right in the middle. I don't have a call for you on this. My call for you on this is it's a chop zone. Okay, that's the best I can do on that. Okay, I got nothing for you on that. I'm sorry. MicroStrategy. And all questions about stocks are good questions too, by the way. I appreciate it. MicroStrategy. I think it goes without saying this stock has just been getting destroyed. But it looks to me like the market is actually looking for those. It's actually doing some bottom feeding right now. Did I actually show you that? Yeah, I did. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not zoomed out or zoomed in. All right, so the market's kind of bottom feeding right now. It actually, on the pre-market, it's actually looking really strong. But you know, even these strong, that's a pretty big pullback, isn't it? Right. So look at this. Let's zoom it. Oh, we're already zoomed in. Okay, good. All right, we're zoomed in. So look here, your big bullish candle right here. It's got to hold that bull candle. Okay, and it looks like it's already come back down. I would say that's underneath the 61.8. So it's a good chance it's going to come back into these moving averages, 84, 83 area, and probably do a retest into that. You have a downward trending channel. I'd be really careful with this on the long side. And right now, this is a difficult one to trade right now. It's not on the edge anywhere, so I'm not seeing a real advantage on this one. All right, so that's what I got on that. It is 9:07. Rocket Lab. We're going to do Rocket Lab, and we're going to do Apple, and then I'm going to have to call it a day. All right, Rocket Lab, what are we looking at? Make sure I'm zoomed out. All right, and we actually don't need this here, so let's do it like that. You know, Rocket Lab has been somewhat of a downward trending channel right there. I think we're gonna have to actually look at this on the hourly. I don't think I can zoom back enough on this. So let's do this. We're now on the hourly. Let's throw a regression channel on this. I want to see if it's gotten out of the regression channel for, let's just at least say right here it's out of that regression channel. So it's good to go there, right? So that one's good to go. How about this regression channel? Yes, I'd say that you are out of that. No, you're retesting that regression channel. You see that? So if I look at this right here, you see this? What you have going on from this high right over here, right? From this high right here, from this high right here, right? You actually pull in this regression channel right down through here, right? And what happened? We ended up like, look above, fail, had a seller coming back into the trading range. More than likely, this is going to come back and find some support around this 20-period moving average on the hourly time frame. If you believe in this stock, and it's actually got a pretty nice price action on the hourly, like it's trying to turn around, you believe in this stock and you want to try this on a go along, wait till you get to the 20-period moving average. The 50 period is actually also going to start coming up and supporting. And then also right around here, you actually are looking at some pivots where you're right around that 85 range. You got 85, 86, your middle channel, and some moving averages. You possibly could see a bounce right there, and this actually could be maybe the beginning of the turnaround. You do also have the possibility, if you do get your bounce right there, that you are putting in an inverse head and shoulders, a little mini inverse head and shoulders right there, right? Which would imply that once you get through that, you should make it back up to probably around this area right here before you then start seeing some profit taking. So up around the 100 and 101 area. If it ends up playing out like that, that price action's got to carry the 20-period moving average. All right, what was the other one? Oh, God, you guys keep coming up with great stocks. AMD. Oh, my gosh. All right, we're doing Apple, though, because that's what I promised. And Apple's got a really nice consolidation range on that 15-minute time frame chart. I'm going to go over here to the 15-minute. So Apple has been a little bit of a dog, put in this kind of a extended bear flag, and then it finally played out. And then everybody decided they wanted to buy it. It's only made it back when you're looking at it, really, from the time that it actually sold off right here to where it's back to right now. It's only made it back to about 50% of that range. So you know what that is? Let me show you what that is. That is this. That's a doji. Nobody's winning. Yeah. That's basically what you got going on when you're looking at it. It's a doji, right? So we get up above the doji, that's a go long. You get down below the doji, that's a go short. In the meantime, if you're wanting to day trade this, let's see what we're looking at. You got a very nice consolidation range. Oh, son of a gun. Tab out. Got a very nice I apologize. I'm trying so hard to get used to the zooming in and zooming out. I think that feature is fantastic, but I do forget about it. 283 is your low on this. This one here is going on my list. I love how tight this consolidation range is. It's already paid attention to the fact that it was way out of balance. You see, it was trading up in here, and it actually came back and it actually repaired that balance and bounced off and showed me that actually this 283 is pretty strong support. So it's actually still holding that 283. So now I'm less worried about this stock on the go long side. This actually has some very high potential on the go long side. Let me give you your pre-market high and your pre-market low. Pre-market high is 285.35. Your pre-market low is 283. 912. I'm going to throw on a real quick AMD view. And that's it, guys. Can't do any more, okay? Please tell me you liked the video. Hey, if you haven't signed up for the pre-market report, sign up for the pre-market report. It'll be in the first comment. What's ever in the description is actually not what to sign up for. Let me zoom this back out. We're just going in here. We know AMD actually is wanting to actually break out over these highs right here. So that's not AMD, that's MD. Might want to put MD on your list, guys. I might have found something here. It looked like this one's trying to actually break out of highs. Might have to come back and revisit this AMD. It didn't get the A for me, AMD. Turn this tab off. There we go. AMD. So AMD is looking, kind of got a pretty wide consolidation range for my trading, but this thing can really rip and run, can it? It's putting in it's a little bit of a bearish rising wedge on that kind of a time frame. If you're looking at these wicks right here, it's actually got a little bit of this kind of action going on. So it's kind of going into a sideways channel. Coming in off of this, like the seller that's coming in off of this has just been wicked. Look at that. Look at these wicks and then look at the price action afterwards. Look at that wick and then look at that price action. Oh my gosh. This thing goes up into the 540. If you decide to take this long, 532 is your pre-market high right now. It's 533. If you take this thing long on 533, you get up into 540, you better take some of that off the board, or you might be giving it all back and then paying for that trade. On the pre-market low, it's a chop zone underneath there, so I wouldn't even look at this at a pre-market low. All right, AMD above 540 has room to run, guys. That's it. That's all I got for you. The market is bullish right now in the pre-market, but crude oil is lifting. It's up 1.22%, 1.2%, but the NASDAQ is running right up with it. So Bitcoin's trying to run. It looks like it's extremely bullish in the pre-market. Be careful about this kind of market on the open. Be careful. Don't get FOMO and actually and then try to double down on that, because it will make you pay, okay? Be really careful on the open on this. Everything's trading to the high side, which is implying to me that we're going to see a fake out on the high side and pullback. Guys, have a great trading day and make lots of money. All right? Take care.